Well, hello, MK Manson 2002. I'm Deconverted Man. I'm willing to bet that you're not going to respond to my text comment or this video, but I could be wrong. Yeah, right. Okay, so you've made a very old argument that's been made before and that's been refuted before multiple times by multiple people, which indicates to me that you haven't actually done any research on this issue and you probably found this argument somewhere and just pretended like it was your own. Or possibly, but I very seriously doubt it, you just came up with it on your own. I doubt that that's the case. I think you probably found it and said, oh, that's a great argument. And although socially speaking, we're supposed to presume innocence until guilt is proven, that is to say, if somebody says, I'm your friend, we're supposed to assume that that person's telling the truth. When you say that you used to be an agnostic, I don't believe you. Sorry, just don't. Prove to me that you used to be an agnostic. It's not really going to be possible for you to do due to social constraints in the way that proof functions. Your misunderstanding of that fact of reality, I think, leads into why you would use this argumentation in the first place. Let me give you an example. This stuffed lobster is actually the creator of everything. The only way for you to prove that it's not is for you to prove that it's not the creator of everything. How could you do that? Really? How could you do that? What if this stuffed lobster is indeed the creator of everything? How would you know? How could you know that it wasn't? How could you go about proving or disproving it? You can't. That's the problem. The burden isn't on you to prove that it is or isn't. The burden is on me to indicate and or prove that it is because I made the claim. So for you to say that lobster isn't God or isn't the creator of everything is a reasonable statement to make, because I have given you no reason to think that it is. In the same way that one can say there are no leprechauns, there are no unicorns, giants, ogres, or dragons, because we have no evidence that there are these things. The fact that these things might exist on some other planet doesn't mean that my phrasing needs to change to there might be unicorns or there might be giants. Because until we have evidence that there is, saying that there isn't is a perfectly reasonable stance to take. There are people in, for example, Ireland that believe in the fae folk, that is, fairies. They sincerely believe and will defend that fairies exist. It is still reasonable for me and others to say there are no fairies, because we have no evidence that there are. And it's not up to us to prove that there are no fairies. It is up to them to prove that there are fairies, or the fae folk. The indications in your video indicate to me, by your wordage selected, that you didn't look up what the word atheist is, because you probably just found this argument and used it as if it's your own. Also, your poor understanding of logic indicates to me that you don't understand logic, because by your reasoning you can't say there are no leprechauns, you can't say that I'm not God, and you can't say that this stuffed lobster isn't God or the creator of everything, or whatever words we want to use, because you can't prove that it isn't unless you go out to the entire universe. And I would go further with this. What if somebody actually did that? That is to say, what if someone was able to live for all time somehow due to science, not that far off from that being a reality, by the way, and they've investigated every part of the universe. That doesn't make them God, as you suggest. It just means that they had an awful lot of time on their hand. After doing that, they declare there is no God, because I've looked everywhere and did not find it. Well, you can simply move the goalpost back and say, oh, God was the place you just left behind. He was under that rock that you just look under. But the minute that you moved on, that's when God happened to go under that rock. He was just hiding from you. You can always move the goalpost back. So, to disprove a universal negative is not possible. And if you think it is possible, then simply prove that this stuffed lobster is not God and or the creator of everything. And you can't just say, well, but it's not because my Bible and or my definition of God means that it can't be, because using, again, your own logic, you would have to know everything to know that this is not the creator of everything. When in fact, that's the opposite of what's true. All you need to know is that no evidence was provided to show and or indicate that it was. Another way to put this is, unless we have empirical evidence, a repeatable test, or a logically coherent argument, we should be skeptical of the conclusions.